Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett, and today I'm going to get into a video on smart home voice assistant devices. And I'm going to focus more on Google Home and Amazon Alexa. And keep in mind, I'm going to show you how to put Amazon Alexa on your actual Android phone. That way you can play around with it and see if it's worthwhile before you buy a device. But I'm going to touch into Cortana and Siri a little bit later. Note that they're not really that developed, and Cortana's fairly new. In fact, they just released their device, and Apple hadn't even released theirs, and they're even admitting that it's more of a music speaker than anything else. So I'm going to touch on those towards the end, but note that they're on their own little platform, and they're not really developed enough to really even get into. So as far as that goes, let's get into how do you get Amazon Alexa on your actual Android device. Now keep in mind, if you're on iPhones, iPads, then you might be able to do this. You just need the right applications. So let's jump on in. First things first is this is the web portal. All of this will be down below, so you can check out the links. But this is web portal. We're going to get into this in a bit. This is the main application you will need. If you're on Android, I will leave a link down below. Check it out. See if you can install it. If you can install it, great. You can actually test out the Echo feature. Keep in mind that some Amazon Alexa devices, they actually have a screen on it. And this is where the other links will come in play. But with that one in mind, this will basically mimic the Echo pretty well. And also note that it actually has added features where you can actually do wake up commands for Hey Alexa or Hey Echo or Hey Reverb, or and there's a few others. So note that. Now, as far as this, the next link, this is a application that Amazon put out. It's basically like their web portal. You can go either. I highly suggest to just download this and use that when you can, because basically what happens here is whenever you use the voice assistant feature, since you don't have a screen here and this is mimicking the Echo itself, all the information is going to show up here, and I'll show you what I mean by that. But on top of that, you're able to do settings and all the other stuff into this area, so it's worthwhile noting that. It's easier if you use the actual application over anything else, so that's something to note. So as far as that goes, to show an example of this with this particular application, so you know how to use it, I'm just pulled up on my phone, and let's ask us a simple question. What is 2 times 2?
2 multiplied by 2 is 4.
So simple as that, and you can see that the thing came up here and it says what it thinks it heard and if it was right, and remove a card and what it may be. So we're going to get a little bit more deeper and ask it to buy something. Buy batteries.
Okay, I can look for sizes, like AA. What would you like?
AA.
If you wish to shop and get my exclusive deals, please enable voice purchasing in your Alexa app. For now, should I add AA to Craig's Amazon cart?
No.
All right. Check your Alexa app for more options.
And there you go. It basically thinks I wanted that, even though, you know, it would have been better if it gave me some options, whatever, but it would end up buying that if I allowed it. But it's important to note that what is the main difference between the Amazon Alexa and the Google Home? Well, it's simply this. What do the companies actually make money on? This is what you got to ask yourself across the board, because there's not a lot of money being made on these voice assistant devices into itself. Well, basically, Amazon makes all of its money, or not all, but the bulk of its money on shopping. Basically, Amazon Alexa is about to make the shopping experience easier and make the shopping experience better. It's basically to get you to buy more stuff on Amazon. It doesn't want you to buy stuff on Target. It doesn't want you to buy stuff on Walmart. It doesn't want you to buy stuff at whatever else. It wants you to buy stuff on Amazon. So Amazon makes more money going that route. Now, if you're okay with this and if you like that idea and whatever, especially if you play with that for a while and find it to be great, then great. But the thing that you got to note is if you don't buy things all that often and you're not really okay with buying things purely on Amazon over everything else, then I'm not really sure if this is much better for you than anything else as far as Google Home or whatever. So that's something to note. Now, where does Google make its money? Because keep in mind, it doesn't really have a store. Its store is a mixture between Walmart and a few other places where it partners up. Think of it as affiliate links, where if you buy things through their store, if you look up Google Shopping Express, it's a pretty neat feature that came out recently. But if you buy things through that, think of it like a affiliate link. So basically, Google will get a kickback for you buying that, but the bulk of the money will go to Walmart or whatever you bought from, and that's something to note. Now, as far as that goes, where Google makes its money from, it's through search, it's through entertainment and stuff of that nature. So that's something to note. Now, while Amazon does have its entertainment features being the Amazon Fire TV, thing is Google Home, it has Chromecast, it has YouTube, it has all these other things. Plus, on top of that, it works very hand in hand with other companies, Netflix, Pandora, Spotify, and so on. It works very much hand in hand. Now, I'm not saying that Amazon Alexa doesn't work hand in hand with some of these companies, but Google is basically very close when it comes to this, and their main business with YouTube is entertainment, is in that. And then they got stuff like YouTube TV that's rolling out and a few other things that are rolling out into its place, where Amazon, again, its main focus is either the Prime membership, the AWS, which has really nothing to do with this, or shopping, which has a lot to do with this. That's a major thing to note. So with that one in mind, my opinion of it is Google has a much better system, especially when you get into the entertainment, especially with some of the stuff that they've been putting out more recent. Now, one thing I want to note is a lot of people might be saying, well, what about the home control system? Thing to note is both systems, both Amazon and Google, works with something called Ifttt. So Ifttt is a great system that works with other things. So for example, if I say, hey Google, bright,
making your bedroom lights white and at 100%.
And you probably can't see me anymore. Hey Google, make my desk light 25%.
Sure, setting the desk light brightness to 25%.
And you can see there where just by saying brights, I was able to raise it up, or if I say illuminate, to mix it into a nightlight mode. This I made over Ifttt, where it hooks up to the Philips Hue application, which controls some of my lights. You got smart things and a few other things that you can control your lights, your door locks, and whatever it may be, with a single word, and do a whole suite of things. Plus, on top of that, there's other things that is coming out, not out right now, coming out, where if you tell Google, like say for example, you're traveling home, you can say, hey, I'm going home. The thing will start a whole automation series for you that you set up prior hand, or you say good night or good morning, and does a whole series of things for you with the smart home. Now, Amazon does do a lot of that. In fact, Amazon does pretty much all of that. So it's a wash when it comes to that. It's even more of a wash if you look at on the supported devices. The supported devices, 99%, if not 100% of them, if one gets it within a short time, maybe a week, maybe a couple months, the other gets it. It's almost a wash from one to the other. So realistically, there's a handful of things that wouldn't be true with, but for the most part, you're getting into something that is, with smart home devices, it's going to be a wash, either with Ifttt or with direct. It's just going to be a wash one way or another. That's just something to note into itself. Oh, and for the smart home thing, I forgot to mention, well, here's an example that's a wash. Hey Google, set my desk light to blue.
Okay, changing the desk light to blue.
Set my desk light to white.
Okay.
See, it controls it just as well, as long as you can connect it and whatever. And some people might say, well, Amazon has skills. In Google, it's called shortcuts. See, it's the same thing. It's just, it's a wash. Where the one device shines versus the other, basically you got entertainment or shopping. So with that, I can show you a quick recording where I can tell the Google device turn on my TV to Bloomberg Live, or to just turn on my TV in general, and it would turn on. And one thing to note, and I want to mention this now, is your TV will require CEC in order for it to work, for it to be automatically turned on. You might have to do a few other settings. So if your TV doesn't support that, or if you don't want to get a Chromecast to start with, which is $35 by the way, then it won't work. So that's something to note. Hey Google, play Bloomberg Live.
Okay, playing Bloomberg Global Live from YouTube on my bedroom TV.
Note that the light on the bottom left, the TV takes a little bit to turn on.
Where do you start if you want to change
Hey
the
Google,
phone?
set the volume of my bedroom TV to 0. Hey Google, play Fox News Live.
Sure, playing Fox News live stream Ultra HD from YouTube on my bedroom TV.
Hey Google, stop. On my next video, I'll show you actually how to do that, and how you can do simple one commands to get it to do basic things like that, where you say play Bloomberg Live or play Fox News Live, and it pulls up the actual live feed that's on YouTube or where it may be. But it's a very simple concept on things like that. Now, again, with that one in mind, if it was a contest between Amazon and Google, Google wins hands down with the amount of features it can do, and with the support that has behind it, with the community it has behind it, and the intelligence behind it. This is a major thing you got to realize, is both of these, they are fairly advanced, but the thing you have to realize is Google, their main fame to focus is this stuff. Their main fame to focus is basically machine learning algorithms, which is huge into this. It needs a large sample size in order to make sure that whatever it's doing is great. And that way it's understanding you, it's more fluent and stuff like that. But it's also major focus is on the basically this interaction into itself, because a lot of people use a phone versus with a Google Assistant on their phone versus anything else. Now, it's the thing to note, you might be saying, well, I play with the Google Assistant on my phone, and isn't that basically just having the Google Home? Kind of. There's like 99% of what you can do on Google Home, you can do on the simple Google Assistant on the phone. There's only like that 1% that you cannot do. Very few things that you cannot do without the actual device itself. For example, like read me a story, or these small things. Like, say, for example, I don't know if it'll show up in the audio. Hey Google, read me a story.
Sure, here you go. This is Snow White from Story
Hey Google,
on Google Play.
stop. So stuff like that. There's minor features here and there that you simply will not be able to get at this time on Google Assistant. Maybe they'll come out later on, but that's something to note. It's very, very minor things. I mean, it's like simple as like, hey Google, what's on my shopping list?
Your shopping list has 3 items: garlic powder,
Hey Google,
brass nozzle, and
stop. So it's stuff like that where you can get it to actually tell you what's on the shopping list, where on the phone it's just going to pull up the shopping list itself. It's very small things, but it is something to note into. So now let's touch into Cortana and the Siri. So Cortana, it's pretty much the same thing that you get on the computer, maybe with a little extra feature here or there. But from what is being shown from everybody who has a device, keep in mind that these devices, whereas with Amazon and Google Home, you're talking about $40 to $50, something around that range. For the smaller end devices, the voice only devices, it's on that range. Where with Cortana, you're talking about, I think it was 150 or something like that range. So it's a little bit more pricier. The thing with that is it isn't as it's just basically not that strong when it comes to what it can do. It's pretty much Windows 10, but in the tube. Now, with that one in mind, it does actually, in my personal opinion, has a better voice. Cortana simply has a better voice. Microsoft has done a great job when it comes to making something that sounds great, but the intelligence is really what matters on this type of thing. So that's something to note into itself. And Siri, as far as Siri goes, it's known to be the worst AI between them all as far as the phone experience. The home experience may be different, but again, that has not really hit the market at all yet. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is even Apple is saying, hey, you're really going to buy this more for music. It's really more a speaker with this. It's kind of like, it's this product, but it can do this other thing. It's one of those things where it's more of a speaker that happens to have voice assistant features on it versus a voice assistant feature that happens to be a speaker. You get what I'm saying. But the thing is since Apple and their employees are even pointing that out, it shows you the lackluster into this. And again, we're talking about like what, $300-$400 price tag. It's up there. It's kind of like the Google Max. That's a speaker first and then a voice assistant second. So that's something up. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. As far as Google Home, major thing to note, there's 3 models on Google Home. So the Google Mini I actually have, the normal Google Home, and then the Max. Well, what is the difference between them all? Well, the Max is obviously a speaker. That's, it's for front. It's a very expensive speaker, but it's a speaker. The other two, they're all the same. The software that's on one, it's on all of them. That's just something to note into itself. So when one gets a patch, the others get a patch, and they all have the same feature when it comes to that. The only difference is The Max is meant for sound. The Google Home product, it has a slightly better audio. It has a few things that the Mini doesn't have. And then the Mini is your base product. I personally like the Mini. I kind of wish they'd bring back the touch feature for the top button. But even with that gone, it's not that bad with product at all. That's something to note. And also with the volume controls and stuff like that could be done on the actual phone itself. And I'll cover this in another video if need be, but it's a worthwhile appliance all around. Now, with that one in mind, I also want to lastly note that all of these products are stupid at the end of the day. If you ask it certain terms, they simply won't know how to answer. And they're very strict by the numbers type of things. They might be able to get around some of the things that you're saying. Like if you phrase it this way or that way, they might be able to get around. But for the most part, they're it's very chat box like. So that's something to note into itself. We're not anywhere near tricking someone to think that it's almost like a human on the other side. It's nowhere near that level with any of these. But with that one in mind, hopefully this has answered some questions and helped some people out. But see you next video. Hope you have a great day. Oh, and one thing I personally would love to see is for all of the assistants to get into one single device or working together hand in hand. Because like I said, it's mostly a wash one way or another. But it would be kind of cool to have with Google's features, and then you got Amazon Shopping and a few other things attached to it, like with Windows, and then I guess whatever Apple has. If you have all that in one place, it's one of the actual true problems that is coming up. I see a lot of people in the technology field, especially journalists and stuff, where they got a few different devices. They got Google Homes, they got Alexas, and now they're getting Cortanas, and it's just getting a mess. And that shouldn't be the case. You should be able to just talk to one, and it does, goes out to everything out there. But we'll see what happens.